Hi, I'm Pascal, EUC Consultant, and in this session we're going to do the NSX for Horizon use case of micro-segmentation. So the question that we almost every time get is how and what. So for micro-segmentation, we have the Horizon architecture in a management block with all the components that are used for the management components, a vCenter, and a desktop block with all the virtual desktops and the vCenter for the virtual desktop that actually resides on the management block, but for the NSX purposes, I've drawn it on this side. So what we need for the NSX infrastructure, we need the NSX manager on the management block that is linked to the vCenter and an NSX manager in the desktop block that is linked to the VC on the desktop, that is for the desktops, and afterwards we prep all the hosts to be able to enable the firewall services on the host. So at that time we have the first part, and that is the NSX manager with preparation, and that equals distributed firewall. So that's the first part. What we also can do is link these NSX together. So we have a primary and a secondary NSX. Pros for that is that we have one rule set we can use in both the management cluster and the desktop cluster. If we don't do that, we need to have something to synchronize the rule sets in between. Okay, so next we want to link the NSX manager to the Active Directory domain. So either via the log scrubbing, so connecting the AD to the domain controllers, so we can scrub the security log, so we get user and Active Directory group information from the Active Directory, or we can use the guest introspection to see what's in the desktops, and we need to have a VSM deployed on the host. And therefore, we can look inside the virtual desktops. Cons on that one is that we only can do the virtual desktops. But we have the AD domain link, and that enables the identity distributed firewall. So we have our firewall services in the management and in the desktop. Now we're going to fill her up. We know what kind of components we have, so we would like to start and create some sections in the management, for example. So we have our Horizon components, so for example you do the connection section, and we know for example from the Horizon network diagram what is the interaction between the components in the Horizon infrastructure. So we know how to build up our sections with the rules. We have a name, we have a source, we have a destination, we have the services, that's also included into the network diagram. And we have the action, such as allow block. The last rule in our section is going to be a block rule. So we do our setup of the rules with a zero trust. So only allow that kind of traffic that is needed. Another item that's not in the list, that is you can also apply to certain groups. So if you have, for example, a security group made up of connection servers that need to interact with a security group made of vCenters, you put that into the source, destination, or whatever direction, and you also put it into apply to. So that section is applied to those groups. So you only have those groups of information. All those sections will be added per component in the Horizon architecture. So you get a section of IDM, a section of the UAS, etc., etc. So, like previously said, we have the Horizon network port diagram. That's on text zone, so you can see it on text zone. And there you can put all the Horizon architecture management components into several sections. And on the desktop side, we do exactly the same, only then with the interaction between the desktops and the management components. So we have several or one or more desktop sections with the same kind of order of rules in the desktop. Next to the infrastructure, we also can create some of the identity distributed firewall rules. Same procedure with the sections, just make up your application section. The only thing is that, for example, the source and destination will be a security group with, for example, application name. And you put in the source, you put in the directory group. So every user that is part of the directory group will be hit as a source or as a destination, but that would be rather difficult. As a source, and then all those users that are allowed within the permission of the applications that is in the Active Directory will be allowed to access that rule set. And with this diagram, with these sections, we have our use case micro-segmentation for NSX. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.